Good morning, Buffalo. You're listening to the Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman. Right now, I'd love to introduce my very lovely co-host, Ari.
Hi, dude man. Are you up?
I am always up, always ready to podcast. Are you up?
Yes, I am. And I am very excited for this episode.
I am as well. So without further ado, let's introduce our guests. That's right, guests. We have two this week. So that's why I'm looking at this cam as opposed to that cam.
Count them, two.
So, yes, if you guys want to introduce yourself, that'd be sick.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jay Gleason,
And I am Donovan Gale.
and we are Warehouse 47.
So the way that usually works is that I ask what your titles are, what your hats are. So what do you do in the Buffalo film community?
Oh, goodness. Me first? Right now, I'm mostly in like the post-production side of things. I'm a big editor. I'm currently learning After Effects and just working alongside Donovan here producing. I've also got a little experience with acting, do a little like guitar on the side and stuff like that. But yeah, it's essentially my role in the team.
Yeah, and then so far in terms of like Warehouse 47 films, I've primarily done like a lot of like writing and directing, as well as like helping produce the projects that we've done up to this point. But as far as like the Buffalo scene goes, I am also like an actor. Been in a few local projects and stuff, which has been an absolute blast. So yeah.
Very cool. So right now we're going to go into our first segment. This is called Fan Mail. So the way Fan Mail works is you guys, listeners, send in your questions. We read right here on air. Guest of the week will answer. So as always, Ari, will you please ask the first question?
Let's see. So, this first question I have is from me. What inspired the name Warehouse 47?
Take it away.
Cool. So the number 47 is kind of like a special number to me and has been for a super long time.
I like 57.
It's so yeah, 47 is kind of like a cool number because like if you like look it up on the internet, whatever, if you like look it up, it's like it's a number that appears in media a lot, like randomly. Like if you watch, like you'll see it like pop up randomly in like old cartoons, like you'll hear it randomly referenced. And the reason for that is because like 4 and 7 are both like kind of like numbers that are like weirdly between 10. So like when you ask someone to pick a number between 1 and 10, 4 and 7 are like usually where people go. And then when it's like 1 and 100, like 47 is kind of like, so it's just a random number that a lot of people end up landing on. I also love the number because I'm a big enjoyer of like the Hitman games. So there's like Hitman for Agent 47, which is very, very cool. So it's always been like what I've considered to be my lucky number since I was like a young lad. My gamer tag on like Steam and everything is Weapon XLVII, which is Weapon 47. And that's like a cross between Weapon X, which is Wolverine, and Agent 47. So it's pretty cool. And then Warehouse 47, when we were kind of coming up with production company names, I was like, I gotta get 47 in here. Like it's my lucky number. Like, and then we were trying to figure out all these different things.
Yeah. And at the time we were in Fredonia, living together at at this like place that was being turned into a studio, and we spent like a whole summer where we were like renovating the place and like knocking walls out. It was a really awesome summer. Just like renovating this place into like a studio, which now does like a lot of film and like theater. And we came up with Warehouse 47.
Yeah, because before they renovated it into like the space that it is now, it used to literally be called like, oh, we're gonna go meet at the warehouse. So it was like, oh, let's do that. So that was how that came to be. Long-winded answer.
I'm glad you asked that question and not what happened to the other 46 warehouses.
Oh, don't ask about those. Each one's a different tragedy. It was crazy.
The 47th time is the charm.
Thank you. That's what we're hoping.
Well, I'm going to ask you because your Buffalo 48 just premiered, like, let's see, I'm not sure when this will be released. Let's just say it released in August. Was this the first time that Warehouse 47 did Buffalo 48, and what was your experience like?
Yeah, this was our first one, year one for the 48-hour film festival, and I mean, we weighed ourselves very critically against the other ones, and a lot of people told us, like, we think you made top 10, and we think so too.
We hope so. I mean, we enjoyed the process overall. Like, it was funny because last year we had just missed it. By like we missed like signing up. We were like, we got to make sure we do that next year. So moving into this year, we were like very much on top of like all the deadlines and stuff. Made sure we had signed up and we're ready to go.
Yeah, we did like the early deadline. We were like,
Yep. So
we
and
really
then
sign up.
Doing it this year, it was great. I mean, going to like picking the genres out of the hats was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've had to do. Seeing people go up there and like draw like musical, I was like, oh my god,
we would be ruined.
I don't know how I would do a musical, so I didn't even expect that to be like a genre. But then like doing the screenings and everything, like everyone was just like very cool. Like everyone was very receptive, and like, you know, it was a great networking opportunity to talk to people and like talk about their process and like how they went about like coming up with their scripts and filming and assembling their crew. And it was just like overall, I would say like a huge experience that we definitely learned a lot from.
Yeah, and we met a lot of really cool people too, and
yeah,
we're hoping to continue to, you know, talk with them and collaborate further with them.
Yeah.
So this one is also from me. Do you have any films showing in the first annual Amazing Fantasy Fest?
We do. Yeah, we do. It was the film that we made exactly a year ago last weekend. It's called NOKK. It is a short horror film that we shot last summer, and the best way I can describe it is it's kind of like a found footage style horror film. So it's very cool.
It's very cool. It's our first attempt at a short, and a lot of people really like it, and we're excited to show it off at the Fantasy Fest. It's gonna be awesome.
Yep. So it'll be really cool. Excited.
Yeah, I love the actress that you got. I know there's 2 actors that you got in there, but we had the one on earlier this season, and she crushed it. Yeah, she was in Big Brood, which you were also in, Donovan.
I was in that movie. Yep. That was actually where Elle and I really were introduced to Veronica. And Elle and Veronica are like super great friends, which is super cool. And then by proxy, I get to hang out with them a lot, and it's really cool. And ever since Big Brood, I've just been trying to find as many opportunities as I can to work with Veronica. She's also going to be like helping us out with some of our upcoming stuff. So yeah, she's just the best. One of the probably coolest people you can work with. So
Speaking of Big Brood and your character, do you get cast a lot as like typecast as like the kind of like soldier, like the kind of like the muscular guy?
So far, yeah, that's been kind of my experience. Is it's either like, all right, I need you to be this police officer, or it's like you're gonna be this like soldier guy, or in the big. I'm usually also like the heavy in a lot of stuff. So like for Big Brood specifically, they were like, okay, so you're like the crypto bro bully, and I was like, very cool. All right. And I have this whole monologue in that movie where I'm just like, yeah, so like cryptocurrency, what it's like really about is it's not what people think it is. It's like it's actually the future, and it's just so it's so silly. But I got to do that with another close friend of mine. His name is Lucas, and it was really cool because like he was in Fredonia at the time too. That was where we were introduced to each other. So it was kind of nice coming into that and working with him, because like I had to be really, really mean to him in a couple of the scenes. And then after every scene, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. And he'd be like, no, that was really funny. Yeah.
It's funny. That's like not Donovan's like type at all. You know, like he's sweetest, nicest guy ever.
No, I agree with that sentiment, because when I watched Big Brood, it reminded me of like Step Brothers. Like that's the kind of character it reminded me of. But it's the kind of like guy you love to hate, if that makes sense, because he's so lovable that like you can't hate him. So that's what his character reminded me of. And I asked that particular question because I told you before we started the podcast that I do have a story the first time we met. Okay. So I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you have a like stunt training kind of like background at Fredonia, right?
Yep. So I took a lot of as many as they offered me, some of them multiple times, like all of the fight classes, did a lot of like stunt stuff out there, as much as I could absorb in my period of being there. Yeah.
Because the first time we met, I did a short film, and you had to be like in a fight with like this other guy.
Yes.
And you wore my pants and you ripped them.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I do. Yeah. That was super cool. I remember we did that with John Cristiano, I believe, right? Yeah,
John Cristiano. Man.
Yeah, and that was like the first fight scene I had ever really done. Because up until that point, it had all been like training and like doing stuff in class. And then I got brought into that, and I was like, this is so cool. Because we filmed it in that, the same space that you guys did, like the indoor stuff for Goopy Ganker, like that closed like studio thing.
Oh, yeah, in McEwen.
Yes, and it was like, they had like these, like, it was like just me and him in there, and it was like all black, and like they had these like bright lights on us. We were like two brothers that had been like pitted against each other. Ooh. It was so cool. It was a lot of fun.
I was on wardrobe duty and weapons duty, so my mom had to bring like a whole bunch of like fake weapons to Fredonia. Mm-hmm. I got some looks, but it worked well in the film.
I remember that part too. Yeah, it was really, really fun. It was super cool.
That is an awesome story. No, that's not my question though. But that is an awesome story. Okay, so this next question I have is also from me. Can you share with us your inspiration for Rise of the Z Team without spoilers?
Yes. So it's kind of like a loaded question, only in the sense that kind of what we were talking a little bit about before this is that there's a lot of inspirations. So like Arrested Development is a big inspiration. That 70s show is also kind of a big inspiration in the sense that like it's a group of friends all getting together in like a basement and kind of just like talking about their lives. So like that served as a big inspiration. Also, like I had mentioned to you, or like you had asked, the Dr. Horrible sing-along blog is another huge inspiration because of like the campiness and like the very goofiness that they like, you know, Nathan Fillion and Neil Patrick Harris bring to it with like Captain Hammer and stuff. So all of those are like really big inspirations. But then we've also, as far as like the individual characters go, we've pulled a lot of stuff from like, you know, different animes that we've watched or different like comics from like DC Comics and Marvel Comics. Characters kind of based on some of my personal favorites, like, you know, Doctor Doom obviously being one of them. So lots of inspirations for sure.
We had also The Boys, just like the grit and reality of like a world with superheroes and like what that entails.
Yeah.
And Donovan and I also had we each like thought like what would be a good like episode of a show that we've seen that would be like a good inspiration. And Donovan's was an episode of Batman the Animated Series where the villains all got together, and it was called.
The episode is titled "Almost Got Him,"
Almost
and
Got
it's
'Em.
a bunch of Batman's famous villains all sitting around a table playing like poker and like swapping stories of the time they almost got the bat. So that was a big inspiration for sure. And then yours was the episode of Samurai Jack.
Mine was the one from Samurai Jack where all of these bounty hunters get together and like create this plan to take down Jack. And in both of the episodes, like these villains like assemble, and then at the end they're, you know, some crazy stuff happens.
Yep.
So without giving too much away.
Right.
So, listeners, remember, if you want your questions asked, please send that to our Buffalo You Up. We're going to take a quick break. Brian Dudeman, co-host.
Ari Nicole.
And we'll be back with more. And we're back. You're listening to the Buffalo You Up podcast. My name's Brian Dudeman, my co-host, Ari.
Yes, I'm up, Dudeman, I'm up, yes. Are you up?
I am always up, always ready to podcast. Jay, Donovan, you guys up?
Oh yeah,
We're up.
all the way up.
Nice. Ari, want to introduce the next segment for us?
Sure. So this next segment, one of my favorites, we like to call it Plug Yourself. This is where you guys tell us where we can see your work. Should you have any films on YouTube we can look up? Are there any screenings coming up sometime soon in the future? And do you have any Instagrams or Facebook pages or websites that we should follow? Where in the world is Warehouse 47?
Yeah, so we're on YouTube right now. We don't have anything uploaded just yet because NOKK we did, like I mentioned, about a year ago, and that is still in festivals right now. But as soon as we can put that out there, that'll be one of the first things we upload. Also, in terms of like other things or places you can check out, like Warehouse 47 stuff, you can shoot us an email if you want. It's warehouse.47.films@gmail.com. And then you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram just by looking up Warehouse 47 Films.
Yep.
And then personal stuff, I'm also on Instagram. So if you want to look me up, just
Donovan's on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. We're both on Facebook.
both on Facebook. So
Donovan Gale Jay Gleason.
Yep. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything. I'm not that cool. I wish I did. That's something we should think about.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I do have a YouTube channel, but it's just a bunch of nonsense.
No, it's cool. You do like your Dark Souls and
Yeah,
stuff.
little
it's
edits of me and my buddies playing Dark Souls, but it's fun.
And then in terms of screenings of things, NOKK is going to be in the Amazing Fantasy Fest coming up here pretty soon. Also, our short film, the Tabula Rasa, hopefully will be screening at, it's going to be screening tomorrow at the awards. So that'll be cool. By the time this has gone out, I think that'll have already happened. So if you saw it, sweet.
Awesome.
Hope you were there. Hopefully we chatted. And then also, hopefully we'll be at the award ceremony on the 20th. I mean, we'll be there no matter what.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And then other stuff like locally, I am doing some projects upcoming here. I'm not super sure if I'm allowed to like talk about them right now. I'd very much like to, but I'm trying. I don't have like the clear go ahead yet. So I'll be in some things coming out in the near future, which I'm very, very excited about. So just keep your eyes peeled for some posts from me and other people in general. So
yeah, and also we got Z Team coming up. That we're very excited to produce.
Yeah.
We're gonna be shooting that first weekend of November, so we're very excited to do that. We're gonna do a bunch of pickup shots, and we've also got a couple other scripts that we're slowly working on that we're hoping to produce after that. We've discovered that after all of this work with Z Team, we're like, whew. Yeah, like a big near feature film is like a lot of work. Maybe we should produce some, more digestible things.
Well, yeah, kind of like Tabula Rasa. That was one of the things we took away from that experience too. Was just like, like doing things over one weekend that are like 6-7 minutes long are also very fulfilling. So,
yeah, for sure. So expect a lot of new projects from us.
Yeah. Also, just want to plug really quickly that Warehouse 47 Films is not just solely interested in like producing our own stuff.
Yeah.
Part of one of our dreams is that people would eventually like come to us with some stuff that they're looking to produce and kind of like utilize our equipment, team, and expertise. So if you're looking to kind of maybe bounce some ideas back and forth or just potentially collaborate together, please reach out to either the social media or myself or Jay or however you can get a hold of us.
Well, that pretty much wraps up Plug Yourself. Thanks again to both of you, and we will definitely keep our eyes peeled to see you more in the future.
All right, so this is the next segment. This one is called A Hero's Journey. So usually the way that a hero's journey works is I ask the guest where they get their start, like what was the first project they worked on, themes they picked up along the way, and, the progress that it took from point A to where they are now, and what projects you guys are working on in the future.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I think we've talked a lot about like Warehouse 47 and stuff. I feel like we could fuse the stories into like the birth of Warehouse 47 at some point.
Well, fusion.
Yeah.
I like the sound of
Fusion.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So my journey has been a long one. I got into film and like theater and things like that back in high school. I was inspired by my older sisters who like always did theater and like would do like the morning announcements. I was like, oh man, I gotta get into that. And I was very lucky to have a like video production class in high school, and I was able to participate in a like St. Bonaventure video competition, and I won best video, and I was like, okay, all right, this is where it begins. I'm gonna start doing video. So I went to Fredonia in 2018 for theater, and then sophomore year I picked up video production, and then from there just did like a bunch of video, did theater, was in like the musicals there, and that's where I met Donovan. Crazy time. COVID hit, and this crazy fusion happened between theater and video, where a lot of the directors of the theater department were like, COVID hit, and what are we going to do? Like, we can't do these shows. And I said, okay, well, I'll make them all into movies. And they were like, okay. And so I ended up shooting and producing and editing all of like Macbeth and Songs for a New World, The Persians. There was a lot. And that's where like my story began. And then like during COVID, Donovan and I really began to become great friends. And I'll pass it on to you for your
Thank you.
origin
I
story.
didn't know all that about you. That's so I learned so much. But my story is it's kind of interesting, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But so like I'd always wanted to do this kind of stuff. Growing up, I like went to the movies a lot with my dad, which was like part of like some of my fondest memories, like going to the movies every weekend and like watching stuff and just like being like, man, I would love to exist in that world. And then flash forward a long time, and it was like I'm in college and I went initially for like accounting. And I was trying to be like, yeah, accounting, this seems really cool. Funnily enough, I wanted to be an accountant because of the movie The Accountant with Ben Affleck, because I was like, this is what being an accountant's like. This is so cool. And then I started school as an accountant, and I was like, this is so lame. This is awful.
like the movies,
this is
folks.
not cool at all. Where's my Barrett 50 cal? Whatever.
I minored in accounting as well.
Yeah, so you get it. It's all the like the credits and debits and stuff, and you're like, oh.
It's a good idea when you want to run your own business in the future.
So some of that
That's
stuff,
true.
yeah, hopefully will come to pay off in the future here. But as I'm sure many people are aware, like when you're at college, part of what you have to do is like your CCC classes. And one of those that I had to do was like my art CCC. And I didn't really want to do like painting or drawing or anything because I was like, I don't know, that just doesn't really feel like something that I would enjoy as much if I have the choice. And there was an opening for acting for non-majors, and I was like, well, that would be really fun. So I took that class, had an amazing experience. It was where I first met one of my professors and like role models, Dan Lenzian, who was also like a local star in Buffalo. And he kind of was kind enough to be like, I think that you have, like, I can tell you have like a real affinity for this, and I think, I can tell that you want to do more. I would like to offer you a slot in my class next semester if you'd, be willing to join. And I was like, absolutely, I would love to do more of this. Did that class. That was like a scene study class. Learned a lot there. And at the end of that class, he was like, I really think you should audition for the program, the BFA program at Fredonia. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I did. I auditioned for the program. I got in, and I was like, this is a really changing of worlds, because like I kept my other majors, so I was double majoring in like accounting and acting. And it was absolutely wild, and everyone would be like, how are you doing both? And I was like, I don't know. I'm not sleeping.
That's what I said too.
Yeah, I was like, it's a lot. But then, like, so fast forward, I did some shows at school there. I was in The Grapes of Wrath as Jim Casey, which was
First time I saw him, he
was like my first show,
popping
like
off on stage.
real show ever. I had done some other small stuff up to that, but that was like my first like big role in a big show. And then after that, I did Macbeth.
I shot the whole thing. Donovan was my Macbeth.
I was
awesome.
Macbeth. That was insane. Because it was essentially like, all right, you've been cast. We're gonna start filming in like a week, so learn all of your lines like right now. And I was like, oh my god. But it was still really cool. I got to work with a lot of really talented people in that as well, and that was a great experience. And then COVID and everything was a big part of it. And then, flash forward, I graduated. Me and Jade become really great friends throughout COVID. And then we kind of started playing around with the idea of like wanting to make our own stuff. And then that was kind of where, and that summer after I graduated was like where the birth of Warehouse 47 took place, of us just being like, you know what, man, we don't have to wait for people to cast us or call us. Like,
Make our own
we'll
stuff.
try to make our own stuff. And yeah, so it's taken a little while to like, find the time. And, now we're fortunate enough to like, we live together as roommates. So that's been a huge help. Like, being in the same space and being able to like be like washing dishes and being like, it might be a cool idea, and just
It's so nice.
bounce
honestly.
ideas and stuff off each other. And then the plan going forward is just to kind of keep doing Warehouse 47 stuff, and hopefully that leads to bigger and better things.
We're going to take a quick break. Brian Dudeman, co-host.
Ari Nicole.
And we'll be back with more. And we're back. You're listening to the Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, co-host.
Ari Nicole, up and ready. How about you, dude, man?
Always up, always ready to podcast. So it's the last segment. This is called Final Thoughts. This is where we get to ask our guests what they thought about being on the podcast and any future advice you would give for future guests.
Yeah, this is my second podcast, and this is a beautiful setup. Very, very nice. And I am honored and privileged to be here, so thank you very much. Advice? Just be honest, I suppose. Just be truthful and, let the people know who you are. And I think that we accomplished that.
Yeah. This is my first podcast, so very excited. I was very much looking forward to doing this. I was super psyched when we kind of bumped into each other, and you were like, "I'd love to have you on," and I was like, "I would love to be on." I've always wanted to do a podcast, so really had a great time. Thank you guys so much for having me. Like Jay said, the setup here is incredible. The vibes are immaculate. So it's just a really great time. And as far as advice goes, to counter Jay, just lie. Just
be deceitful.
Be deceitful. Don't tell anyone the truth. Never let anyone know your next move. Go nuts. Go crazy. Always keep them guessing.
So, this is part of the podcast when I remember. I usually let the guests ask either Ari or myself a question. So, Jay, you can ask either Ari or me a question, and then Donovan right after, same thing. So, and it'll be fun because this has never happened. If two guests asked one host both a question, and it should be Ari.
Ooh, that's tough.
I've got a question.
Okay, you go first.
It's not maybe you would both be interested in answering this question. No pressure either way. But since we've been talking a lot about like our project Z Team, and since it revolves around a lot of supervillains and stuff like that, I'd be interested in hearing what your guys is, in anything. What is your favorite supervillain or villain? Thank you.
Villain wise, I was always kind of a Catwoman fan, and now that I'm a cat mom, I'm definitely a Catwoman fan. I also have a very good friend who plays Catwoman, and so yeah, I think Catwoman would be at the top of my list.
Catwoman's a cool choice. Very cool.
Is that friend also first season guest who for me is a favor because my favorite supervillain, Harley Quinn? Yeah. Sherilyn Litz, if you're listening, love you. Love to have you on again.
Love you, lady.
Both good answers. Both Batman villains too.
Yeah, it's true.
Cool. Very cool.
All right. I've got a similar question for both of you. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Something that I kind of always wanted in real life ever since I was like 11 years old is I wanted to have, at the time I called it clones. Yeah, I've always wanted to be in two places at once and then have a third version who still gets a full night's sleep. So what it would really be would be multiplicity. That, in order for, if I really want to make the world a better place for everyone. And so if there were more of me, I could do much quicker of a job of making the world a better place for everyone. So not trying to say that there should be more people like me, but if there were more people like me, the world would be a better place because that's what all of me want.
Very cool.
You guys ever watch The Wonder Twins? How like the one person would always turn to like water, so there would be like Wonder Twin powers activate. It'd be like form a bucket of water. That's mine.
Throwing in a bucket of water. I love that. That'd be cool. Quick, we gotta put out this small fire.
It's fine. I think that's what my answer was season 1. What about you guys? You guys both answer. Supervillain and superpower.
For me, superpower has always been. I think that like the ability to control time would be very cool. Like being able. It's kind of based on the show Hero. If you ever saw that from back in the day. But there was a character in that who could like control time in the sense that he could stop time, he could slow time, and he could travel forwards and backwards throughout time.
Wow.
And one of the reasons kind of bouncing off your thing, that I've always wanted that ability, so that I could be like, I'm not ready to go to work yet. I'm just gonna pause the world and sleep for as long as I want, and then wake up and be well rested and be like, all right, resume.
That's genius.
Yeah.
When I was young, I did want that power too.
It's also like you could just do whatever you want. Be like, oh man, I'm a few bucks short. Pause. Like, Jay, what's in your
Yep.
wallet?
Wouldn't that also mean like after like 40 years you'd be like 65 or something?
Well, see,
you're pausing, so you wouldn't age.
yeah, no one
you
can
wouldn't
move
age
or
either?
anything, but you don't age because time is frozen. So you can just like, you could spend 4 or 5 years in like time being frozen and like read every book in a library and be like, I've acquired 4 years worth of knowledge in
That's
not
actually
even a
genius.
single moment.
That's actually
Yes.
moment.
I would love to be able to do that because I never get enough time to read. So if I could just pause life
Yeah.
for a few years and just nothing happens, just so like I can chill and read all my books
My small
or like clean my room.
Oh. Yep.
And then there's also the episode of Johnny Bravo where like everyone's stuck in traffic and everything's like, so he thinks that everything is like slowed down.
Yes.
And like everyone's like doing small things, but like they're like stuck in that moment. So he looks around, he thinks everyone's stuck in time.
Yes.
Then later he realizes, oh,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Johnny Bravo. What about you?
Did you say your hero?
Oh,
or
no, the villain. I mean, for me, it's always Doctor Doom. I'm a huge Doctor Doom guy. Have been for a long time. He's just got, I think, one of the coolest like aesthetics. He's obviously a pretty hardcore villain, but like if you know a little bit about him, like there's also like in the Marvel cinematic, or not in the Marvel cinematic, excuse me, in the Marvel comic book universe, there's a storyline where they're like, the only way the Earth survives is if Doctor Doom is in control, and everyone's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And he's just got like some of the coldest and most iconic moments in all of my favorite comics. So yeah, definitely Doctor Doom.
Goodness. As for me, as for like a superpower, I would be torn between two things, because this one I've had like dreams about, being able to like do magic through like music. So like playing my guitar and like floating things around, or like a big like sonic blast or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. Kind of like a bard in like D&D, like how they cast music through, or magic through music. Or like Toon Force. So like through the Spider-Verse, like Spider-Ham, how he's just like, you can just pull out like a giant hammer, or you can be like crushed and just be like, right? Or like just crazy wacky stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like
that would be fun.
Bugs Bunny like sawing off Florida, you know? Just like crazy toon powers. I think that'd be so much fun.
Love that. Did you watch the Futurama episode where like Fry's like got the musical thing and like everything that he plays a note like literally will be like on
Yeah,
the
like
theater?
the little, like,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. That's what reminded me of.
Doc Ock. He's got like the power of the sun, and you know, I've got the
Power of the sun in the palm
of my hand. And like, yeah, he's got like, it's the classic villain where he's like got this, you know, virtuous, like he wants to do good, but he's willing to destroy everything to like make everything good. And then also just having like 4 ginormous like robot arms. That's so sick.
It's always cool. Yeah.
Honestly, just
When you
like
said-
carrying himself around.
When you said
So cool.
Spider-Man, I was gonna be like, if you want to go with a cool villain, you could have been like Superior Spider-Man. 'Cause
Oh, Superior Spider-Man's a villain.
Doc Ock's in his
Oh, yeah, and then there's that whole thing where he's like,
See, I thought you were gonna go Venom because I remember like going
Venom's
oh,
great.
Venom too?
Venom is
Yeah,
super
yeah.
good too. Venom's a great choice.
There you go. Yeah, Venom's excellent. All right, I changed my answer, Venom.
And then one thing we ask before we close out is, what is one thing that you're both are very thankful for? Like, what's one thing that just keeps you motivated, just keeps you driven, that you're just very happy that's in your life?
Oh, well, this guy's friendship, for sure. Donovan Gale is my brother. Like, you inspire me to do great things, and I'm so glad that I have you at my side to help me and to help you, and that we can, you know, work together to do great things.
Wow, that's just such a wholesome answer. My answer is no. I'm just kidding. Yeah, definitely your friendship for sure. I would match that 100%. As a small addition to that, because my original answer was going to be, until you said that, would be my partner Elle Nunzio. She just inspires me every day just to be better and keep striving for the things that I want to do. So it's her and it's you.
Yeah, Elle's awesome.
She's the best. She's the best.
That was Beautiful sentiment. So until next time, I've been Brian Dudeman, my co-host,
Ari Nicole, as always.
and we just have one question for you, Buffalo. 1, 2, 3.
You
up?
All right, goodbye. Oh, not there. That's a terrible spot.
Oh my lord.
Nice. Oh! Ho-ho! All right, let's go. We'll go here. This is like the. I don't want to take up too much space. Beautiful. And then it's like we're sharing your face. You know?
It's gorgeous.
I love it. Beautiful.